Yo, what's up, everybody? I'm Marcus.
I'm Ryan.
And together, we are the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Back at you guys with a new video. Today, we're going to go over the NBA Finals Game 3 recap.
All right, man, this was a hell of a game. Like I said, I thought the Cavs were going to pull it out, and I think most of America thought they would too. The Warriors dug deep. They found a way, and they got the victory 118-113. Now they're up 3-0 in this series.
And we also got some a quick news on one of my favorite New England Patriots as well. But let's go to the trending topic, the NBA Finals recap. The Cavs, they almost pulled it off last night, but during the end, the Warriors stayed poised. KD made possibly the biggest shot of his career as well.
Right. So we needed J.R. Smith to have a big game, and he definitely got involved very quickly. Had a couple nice threes early on, finished with 16 points. So that's exactly what we needed to see. As far as his right-hand man, Tristan Thompson, on the other hand, man, he had a goose egg, 0 points. I was really hoping that he would come to play, at least get 10 points and 10 boards.
Right.
And Kevin Love, that was kind of another surprise. You know, I thought personally that might have been one of the worst playoff games scoring-wise from him that I've ever seen.
Yeah, K-Love didn't score the ball as much, 1 for 9. But he did have 13 rebounds and also 7 steals. And if you look at the numbers, the plus and minuses, he's actually, besides Draymond Green, the second best defender in his series.
Right. But, I mean, they just needed a little bit more. I mean, 1 for 9 shooting. I mean,
Yeah.
if we're talking about the big three with like when it was LeBron, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh,
Right.
Chris Bosh would not give you 1 for 9.
No,
especially in a clutch game where it was a must-win game at home. I love the energy in the first 2 quarters. They came up a little bit short towards halftime, but obviously in the second half where they failed and just came out with no energy in games 1 and 2, they fought it all the way until pretty much the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter, where they pretty much just handed the torch and Kevin Durant was Kevin Durant.
I mean, they did score 113, but 77 of those points came from LeBron and Kyrie. Uncle Drew did show up last night, 38 points.
Right, about time.
About time. He only had 3 assists, 6 rebounds. I'm fine with the 3 assists because they needed him to score the ball.
Right, 0 for 7 from deep, which was horrible.
Yeah, that's kind of not Kyrie-ish. That's not Uncle Drew-ish. He's normally a reliable 3-point shooter. LeBron, 39 points, 11 rebounds, 9 assists. For these finals, he's averaging 32 points, 10 assists, 12 rebounds on 51% shooting from the field.
Right. 15 for 27, though. Not good enough, King James. You know, especially when KD is kind of, asserting himself. 10 for 18.
Right.
31 points, 8 boards, 4 assists, and 14 clutch points in the fourth. And this guy, he scored over 30 points in all 3 games. I believe he had 71 going into that game and then had another 31. So that's a nice little 100+ change, obviously in the first 3 games. And he is really showing, I don't want to say he's the best player in the world right now.
Right.
But, I mean, he's definitely making a case for it.
Hey, he's definitely closing that gap. You look at Klay Thompson, I called him Clarence Carter last night because he was stroking.
Right.
He was stroking, man. He made 6 threes after his little slump with back-to-back strong performances. That's what we like to see, a little consistency. You're a better player than that, Klay, and you showed it. And also his defense is what's been amazing me. His defense on Kyrie, even though he had 38 points, he worked very hard for all 38 of those points.
Right. Even Steve Kerr even believed in him to put him on Kevin Love for a few possessions as well. So I like the versatility from Klay, 30 points. Chef Curry was cooking him up as well. 26 points, 13 boards, 6 assists. Think about this. Without the huge meltdown from last year with the whole 3-1, this would be a three-peat that we'd be talking about with one more win for them to kind of, take over and bring the brooms out. I mean, this could be a dynasty. I mean, this could be like the Chicago Bulls, when they had their three-peats. I mean, if it just weren't for a little bit of bad luck or maybe a little bit of LeBron James from last year.
I mean, LeBron, in the future, I know KD has been talking about taking less money. Steph Curry is up for the Supermax at the end of this year. I don't see any team getting even remotely close to beating this team as long as they, keep the salaries in place. What do you think?
I mean, it's looking like we might see these same teams over and over, but with that big four, I mean, unless it's going to be Chris Paul to the Spurs, with Kawhi, LaMarcus, and then maybe adding a Paul George, that's going to be the only way that you're going to be able to compete with this team. And then on top of that, you got Steve Kerr, who's in my eyes a top 5 coach. You know what I mean? Already, you know what I mean? And they have a great bench, arguably the best bench in basketball. Speaking of the bench, I think that was one of the big reasons that they ended up winning this game. With the bench, they played all their guys, obviously on the Dubs. All 13 players on their roster got minutes. I mean, probably a little bit of garbage time minutes when they knew that they were going to win that game. But check this out. The Cavs only played 9 guys on their roster, right? So that equals a loss. 17 assists for the Cavs in the game total. That's why you lost. Tristan Thompson and Kevin Love, bad games. You lost. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can add up to the losses, but you got to give credit where credit's due with KD. The Dubs broke a record, 9 threes in one quarter, finished 16 for 33, which I thought was amazing. But check this out. The Cavs were kind of, I felt, struggling, and they were kind of under duress, and they forced a lot. 12 for 44. Bro, that is disgusting. You can't shoot 12 for 44 in game 3 and thinking that you're going to win against Golden State.
And normally the Cavs are one of the more reliable 3-point shooting teams in the league as well. The Dubs did try to help them out. They had 18 turnovers, which I felt the Cavs should have capitalized on that more. But it all came down to that last 3 minutes, 11-0 run by the Warriors. KD asserted itself. He is definitely closing that gap on LeBron, and not only scoring, but what I was most impressed about, what I have been most impressed about, is not the 34 points he's averaging, not the 56% he's shooting from the field, 54% from 3, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, and he's only averaging 2 turnovers a game. But his defense on LeBron, he can't stop him, but he gives him problems with his length and his quickness and his athleticism.
Right. The defense is definitely something that's not being talked about enough. Right. I mean, you're the MVP of the finals so far, but all the little things that you're doing to not, shut LeBron down like you mentioned, but he's definitely making it harder for him on the court, and he looks gassed. They gave him some shit saying that, are you gassed? And they said, no, I'm good. You know what I mean? I'm ready for the game. But you could tell, I think the Boston series took a little bit out of him. That one game when they were up a couple games and he had the flu supposedly. Yep. And then after that, they ended up winning the series, but they should have swept the Celtics. But I think he has been gassed for quite some time. It's a long season. And if you don't have a lot of help behind you, consistent help like Kyrie and Love, they haven't really been consistent. That's a lot more pressure on LeBron. Another thing I want to mention, Richard Jefferson, Darren Williams, Iman Shumpert, Kyle Korver, their bench combined 11 points, 3 rebounds. That is not going to get it done.
Was that 5 people?
4 people.
4 people?
Yeah. So they only played 9 in the whole game. So you got your 4 guys off the bench, and you had 11 combined.
And what we say they needed about 50 to 60 between those,
right? Between Tristan Thompson, the bench players, and Kyrie. I mean, Kyrie showed out, but as far as the bench is concerned, the rotations. It wasn't enough. And then Durant, as we see in the footage right there, that's his showcase moment, coming up the floor, making the big 3, the Warriors trailed by 6 with 3 minutes left in the game, big 3-pointer over LeBron. So fitting that he had his shining moment with 45 seconds left. And the 7-footer jumps up 2 feet off the ground, no matter if it's a 3-point shot or if it's being a jumper, right there
in your eyes,
shining moment right in your eye. LeBron looks up and says, it's over. And then at that point, you're already looking up, and KD feels that ring. He knows it's close.
Right.
You know what I mean? All these other guys have experienced the championship. So it's just fitting that he has been the MVP of the series. And I am happy for him to get this ring, unless we see some miracle. But the chances of the Cavs winning 4 straight is slim to none.
Like you said, the Warriors haven't lost 4 straight since 2013.
2013, and they won 15 straight games. They got 1 more for the straight sweep to bring out the brooms. This is the longest postseason streak for any team in the 4 major professional sports, like we mentioned yesterday. So shout out to the Warriors, just busting out the brooms and sweeping up the competition. I don't know if it's necessarily bad for the NBA, but this team is damn good. And it doesn't really surprise me. I can kind of see maybe like the New England Patriots kind of having the similar type of season next year, especially with all the moves that they made,
all the acquisitions
they made. But like I said, if you are a fan of the Golden State Warriors, of Kevin Durant, it's been a wonderful season, and they're just about to cap it off with the ring.
And before we move on, other than KD's three, one huge play in the game was the Iguodala steal on LeBron's three attempt at the end.
Right.
So that was huge, and Iguodala has been huge for them defensively since he came over.
Right. And all their role players have really fit their roles. There's not anyone that really goes out of their wheelhouse. You know, JaVale McGee does his role.
Right.
You know, Sean Livingston does his role. I just like everything that they've done. And like I said, they've been well coached. The team is just well put together.
Right.
But then you bring in arguably the second best player in the NBA and add it to that superstar roster with Steph, Clay, Draymond, and all the rest, with Steve Kerr leading the charge. There's no stopping them. And obviously we thought that there would be a good chance for them to at least fight back the Cavs in game 3. But even with their toughest, hardest effort, it still was not enough for that incredible dream team.
Man,
we call the Golden State Warriors.
They need 3 LeBrons and probably 2 Kyries, and that'll give them a chance.
And then a couple Paul Georges off the bench. And then maybe you can keep up.
Yeah, there you guys have it. Our quick NBA Finals Game 3 recap. Game 4 is Friday.
Yep.
So be on the lookout for that. And in other news, like I was saying earlier, one of my favorite Patriots, he just got an extension.
All right, so we're not talking about Tom Brady or Gronk, which I know we both respect, but we're talking about the wide receiver stud, the leader, Julian Edelman.
Yeah, Julian Edelman. He's a playmaker for this receiving core. Whether it's catching the ball or returning punts, he always seems to make the big play at the right time. And you can go back to that catch in the Super Bowl if you need a little video reference to back up what I'm trying to say.
Right. So check this out. 7th round draft pick.
Wow.
I don't know about New England with these Tom Brady, Julian Edelman, these late round guys that, you know, maybe no one believes in, but they just get on the right team in the right situation and show out. 31 years old, Julian Edelman is. 2-year extension worth $11 million, $9 million guaranteed. That was per Adam Schefter. Now New England has 4 of their top 5 wide receivers signed with multiple seasons. Edelman, Malcolm Mitchell, all the way up to 2019. Brandon Cooks and Chris Hogan, 2018. And oh yeah, don't forget about Tom Brady and Gronk. They're locked in for 2019 as well. So they're going for the back-to-back Super Bowl, or maybe the back-to-back-to-back Super Bowl, maybe appearances and wins, you know, so they can ride out in the sunset. Edelman is a beast. 2016 stats, he had a team high 98 catches for 1,106 yards. And now check this out. From 2013 to 2016, 356 receptions. Okay. Are you freaking kidding me?
Wow.
356? Okay, I'm going to go over the top 5 in the NFL in that span. Number 1, Antonio Brown, 481.
Of course.
No surprise, Big Ben throwing him the rock.
No twerking, though.
Right, no twerking. Demarius Thomas, right, from the Denver Broncos, 398. So a little bit of Peyton Manning, a little bit of, you know, the new quarterbacks, you know, with
Osweiler,
you know, Lynch and Simeon, right? And then Julio Jones, right? Okay. Big game Julio, 364, getting it from Matt Ryan. And then tied with Larry Fitzgerald, obviously, with the Arizona Cardinals at 356. Wow. Who would have thought Julian Edelman would be sitting right behind Antonio Brown, Demarius Thomas, Julio Jones, and Larry Fitzgerald? You know, he makes his signature play in the Super Bowl, you know, 7th round pick since 2009. He is ready for another championship run.
Hey, that's great company to be a part of. And when you look at Julian Edelman, one of the player he kind of reminds me of is, of course, he played for the Patriots, Wes Welker.
Right. A better version.
Yeah, a better version. Probably more versatile than Wes Welker, but Wes Welker had that consecutive 6 years with over 100 receptions. Who was his quarterback?
Right.
Tom Brady.
Right.
So there you guys have it. The little sports news update. We'll be back at you real soon with a new video. Again, congrats on Mr. Wes Welker getting your extension.
Julian Edelman.
So
you're so stuck on Wes Welker now. Is he trying to give him an extension when he's not even playing anymore?
Oh, man. Julian Edelman. My bad. All right. NBA Finals Game 3 recap. I'm Marcus. This is Orion. Only got one question for you. Who you know talk sports like us?
Northwest Sports Fanatics.